Greetings of the day, everyone. Welcome back to the Joy Pad podcast. I am one of your hosts, Michael Fleming. With me, as always, is Tom, Megan, and Mr. Michael Pinto. So happy to see you guys. Haven't talked to you in a week, so be kind of nice to say hi, see how you guys are doing. And we'll start off with Michael Pinto, because you seemed like you were a little bit tired from work, and I want to hear about it, sir. So how are you? What are you drinking? And what games have you been playing this week?
I'm good. Today was actually a rather short day for me. 6 hours. That's like nothing. That's nothing, man. Last Thursday I worked 12 hours. So, I mean, made a lot of chicken. The Superb Owl happened this past weekend. The spoilers, the one team beat the other team.
Ramalama Ding Dongs.
And the halftime show, a lot of people made fun of it, mostly because 50 Cent was hanging upside down and looked like he was really uncomfortable. But I thought it was fine.
That was pretty awesome.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any of the game, and I saw the halftime show on YouTube. So, I'm very up with the current times. I'm drinking Pepsi currently because I am tired, and I wanted a caffeinated beverage, and it's delicious. I actually have been playing a new game this week.
Ooh.
I know, that's so weird for me. I picked up Mortal Kombat 11 because it was $18 on Steam, and that was all DLC included, by the way, so it was a pretty decent deal. And I really like the Mortal Kombat universe. I am absolute garbage at fighting games, so it's not like I'm going to be playing it competitively or anything, not even close. I put it on very easy mode. I took the Tom route and just played through the story because I play fighting games for the story. And honestly,
That's a good story.
Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. I really like Mortal Kombat. I beat the main story already. I mean, it's short. You're not going to get a huge amount of time out of it, but I have not played the Aftermath DLC yet. I'm looking forward to that. And it's a really good looking game, to be honest. And I don't know how old it is at this point. It's got to be like 2-3 years maybe.
A couple years at least.
Yeah, but it still looks very, very good. I bought it on PC, of course. And I think...
But I assume you're playing with a gamepad.
Yes, definitely. God, do people play fighting games with keyboard and mouse?
I hope not.
There's got to be someone out there that does it, but...
I mean, I would though, if I don't have a controller. That's the word. I don't have a controller, so honestly, I play Rocket League, which a lot of people say you have to have a controller with. I just use the keyboard and mouse. It's not too bad, but fighting games might be a little weird.
That.
Fighting games might be weird though.
Yeah.
I hope there's one guy out there that's just like the competitive master and he plays keyboard and mouse.
There's a guy that was on Twitch that played Counter-Strike with his feet. It was actually pretty decent at it too.
Nice.
There was a pro StarCraft player that did that too.
Yeah, but I think the guy that did it played with his feet is because he had no hands. But it was
that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure his name was Hansy or something like that.
That's a pretty ironic qualifier.
It was an ironic name, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna look it up while you keep talking, Pinto. But I'm pretty sure there's a guy named Hansy that played CS:GO and was decent and got thousands of dollars in donations because people found it so fascinating. He set a second camera up for his feet and then his face or whatever. And it was really interesting to watch him and see how he had to play.
There are people that
with a man who
stuff.
Yeah, I went to high school with a man who played rock band drums to kill Destiny bosses. So There you go. Yeah, they set up the controller with some special programming, and it got the YouTube views.
Interesting. I haven't really played much else. Playing Super Mario RPG. I'm a third of the way through it. It's a short game, especially for an RPG. So, I played...
Moleville?
What's that?
Moleville?
Yes, I just completed Moleville, Tom. Just got that 3rd star. Yeah, it's short for an RPG, so once that's done, I'll be moving on to Chrono Cross, actually, which they just announced a remaster for.
Yeah.
It looks better. It still don't look great, so I don't know. I'm not super stoked on it, but it's nice that they're doing it at least.
It looks like the Final Fantasy VIII remaster, where they made all the sprites like actually look good instead of like a
massive polygons.
We've talked about the meme of you're the most attractive guy here.
You're the best looking guy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, coincidentally, I was going to play Chrono Cross before the remaster was announced.
It was cool.
You know, just a soothsayer over here, as we do, guys, as we do.
Yes.
That's about it for me. So I'm going to pass it off to Megan. How are you doing?
That's me.
That is you. What are you drinking? What you playing? Have you completed a single game yet this year?
I'm doing okay. It's almost the weekend, and it's a 3-day weekend for me, so I'm pretty happy about it. As for beverage of choice, I'm enjoying some lemon Snapple. It's made of stuff. I don't know what their slogan is. I know they have one, but I don't know what it is. So there you go. I made you a new one.
Snapple, good till the last drop.
Is that what it is?
The best part of waking up is Snapple in your cup.
Maxwell House. Good till the last drop.
I just know
you can eat great.
Yeah, I just know coffee slogans apparently. Think outside the bun. Snapple.
Chock full of nuts. It's got nuts. Snapple.
I'm thinking Snapple tonight. Anyway, I really haven't played a lot. This is my week where I work like an additional 31 hours. So by the time I'm done, I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I was actually just playing Binding of Isaac. That's, breaking. But yeah, I really haven't had a whole lot of time to play games this week. So I'm a little sad. So super boring. Sorry, guys. Tom, how are you? What are you drinking? What are you playing? Hopefully something fun.
I'm good. I have my normal Bang energy drink. It's a purple guava pear today. I'm getting exotic. And I've got some water too. But interestingly, coming off of the food poisoning, I didn't have caffeine for like 4 days. So I'm drinking less caffeine. But this has been maintained as a staple in my diet. Anyway, I have started playing the new expansion for Crusader Kings 3 because I love Crusader Kings 3, and I forgot, but now I remember. I started playing as a little duke in the hell was Prussia. In
Guys,
66.
Can that be
like
our
nothing?
I want that to be my new rap name, Little Duke.
Little Duke.
Little Duke.
But it's spelled D-O-O-K.
Ooh, Little Dookie. There probably already is someone named Lil Duke as a rapper. I would bet money, even if it's just like a local like Florida rapper who does the mosquito rap thing.
He's on Spotify. We're going to have some fun after this podcast, I imagine, because there are songs on here on Spotify. So.
All right. That's the mosquito rap. But anyway, I started as the Duke of Prussia in 1066, which is pretty small. And I kind of grew a kingdom surprisingly quickly. One of the fun things about Crusader Kings is that even though it's new content, there's new features, there's new things to know and manage. Kind of once you know the rhythm of the game and understand how you can succeed in certain ways, you understand that and it doesn't really change. So I was picking up on some new stuff because I was playing a tribal government for the first time, which lets you raid other nations, stuff like that. So it was pretty fun. But I have kind of been up and down with that because I've been busy like everybody else. But I have a feeling I'm going to play more of that this weekend as well. And I haven't really touched Madden too much, but with the Super Bowl behind us, or the Superb Owl, as we like to refer to that glorious feathered friend, I imagine I'll play more at a certain point because there's just no football on TV, so I feel compelled to put football in my life. I'm wearing my Justin Fields t-shirt for those who are watching the video version. So he's a 99 overall in my game because that's how quarterbacks are in Madden. Anyway, that's basically it for me. Fleming, why don't you tell us how you're doing, what you're drinking, what games you've been playing?
I'm pretty good. For our YouTube community, I realized that wearing black was probably not the smartest because now I just look like a floating head against my black chair. So apologize for anyone on YouTube, Dave. Right. I am drinking unsweetened iced tea and some water. I've had a very busy couple weeks, as things have been happening in my job. That's all I'm gonna say about that. In terms of games, though, I haven't played too much in the past week since our last podcast. I think I played EU4 quite a bit still, because it's a game that I can play while doing other things, which has been like my go-to for a while now. I can honestly do basically anything else I want while doing that. So, watch shows, browse the interbuts, you know how it is. And that's basically it. Like all of you, I also, not all of you, but like you, Tom, I watched the Superb Owl. And as a fan of the Bengals and as the man who has championed them all season, I was so sad on the last 4 minutes of that game. It was very tough. I could complain to anyone that loves football, but not everybody that listens here likes football. So probably should just skip that for now and find us on Twitter. Maybe I'll make a post or something about how sad I was. Anyway, we don't have. I am a sad man. I don't have a topic for tonight. So for Jared, while he's running, sorry, Jared, you're going to have to just listen to us ramble tonight. But yeah, I just thought we could talk about whatever's on our mind, what we're thinking. I personally, to kick it off, if you will, having heard what all of us said, this has been a very busy year, which really depresses me because last year, right around this time, we were finishing up with The Forest. We I think played a little bit of Stardew Valley. We even started that a couple weeks ago and haven't gone back to it. Megan, I don't know the last time you and I played together, even something like Ultimate Chicken Horse. So I'm just thinking to myself, I am feeling kind of old, and I guess from my perspective for a topic, and everyone's going to disagree. Even I disagree with this when I say it. But it kind of makes me feel like games are, I don't want to say childlike, but built for children first. So
they're a young man's sport.
Yeah, they're a young man's sport. And once you have that full-time career and you have other family commitments or whatever else. So I mean, that's where I'll start for at least tonight. And I'm sure we can all jump that because it's not true. I knew when I was 10 years old, there was people that were, one of my teachers who was a 64-year-old woman told us how she was able to enter every alpha because she was a 64-year-old woman. And so she was in the original World of Warcraft alphas. She was in a whole bunch of stuff like that because
That's
of
awesome.
Who she was and her age at the time. May she most likely rest in peace. But she was awesome, and I loved hearing that because as a young kid I was like, this is amazing. I'm 13, 14, and I love this, 10, something around that age. And, you're 65. She said she was in the 55 to 65, but we could tell she was over 60. And she just, was so passionate still. And she said, I find a few hours to play. But I feel like it's been few and far between. So I'm just curious, do you guys feel like that sometimes where you're I'm an adult, I have too many responsibilities. Why am I playing games? Is it even am I the weird one when I'm on there playing Rocket League, for example, and you realize everyone else around you is 14 to 18?
No, I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's there are certain facets where I feel like being young has huge benefits. I can't just sit down and play 8 hours of an RPG anymore. It's just I can't really do that. And part of that's time, part of that's attention span, and part of that's me just being a different person. But can I sit down and play Rocket League? Yeah, sure. Do I have enough time to play Rocket League 8 hours a day and become the champion of Rocket League? No, I don't. It's those people like my wife and I played Halo Infinite this weekend too, and we played multiplayer against other people instead of robots by accident, and got our clocks cleaned because we don't have the time to sit around playing Halo Infinite all day and be really good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, we've talked about competitive games, and I think I've voiced my desire to play casually competitive games as best as I can.
Mhm.
But when it comes to those upper echelons, people who have developed, almost like athlete like reflexes and abilities, that's where the adult barrier is for me. And there's a lot of kids that get closer to that level, maybe not fully to that level, but you hear about people like Ninja, like Fortnite, and it's like, what was he, like 14 when he became like the best player at that or something?
I think, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
I mean, he has the time to do it, and when you're 32 and you're working 8+ hours a day, I don't know how to build that tower. I don't know how to do it.
Not even that. I mean, you not even the 8 hours of work, but you also have other commitments too. I mean, you have to take care of feeding yourself and cleaning after yourself and doing everything that's adult. I guess that's probably where the topic really goes. Like, as adults, there's so many other commitments that it seems like it's changed.
I got a mortgage pre-approval yesterday.
Yeah. But it's like it's changed your the games that you do play, right? Like I used to play, I think I played something like 4,000 hours of Counter-Strike, if I had to guess, since I was 13-ish years old. Like most people will tell you that you work about 2,000 hours a year at your job. So I basically worked 2 years of job when you account for just that one game, right? And
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. If we check the math on that, I think I did my math right. Yep, I came to the same number. But I guess like if someone said to me, "Hey, here's another FPS game," I might have some like natural ability to it, but I would not be like able to invest that time to be good at it anymore. It wouldn't happen, and I would not be as good as I could be if I was, anywhere younger, like anything below 25, where I had a lot more time. So it's definitely changed my gaming, that I'm doing a lot more, easy games, pick up and put down games. In a game like CS, you start a match, you've got an hour where you have to only do that. Whereas I even sometimes have to get up. I can't just sit for an hour necessarily at times too. So yeah, I think my gaming style's changed. So
like, I don't want to just sit for an hour anymore either. Like,
well, I sit for 8 hours a day at work.
Me.
So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I get my butt glued to my chair at my computer for that. So I prefer a game where I can step away whenever I feel like it and walk around or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, that's interesting, because as someone who's on his feet for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, for me, I'm like, when I get home, like, I'm like, I'm gonna sit in this chair and only get up when I have to pee, poop, or eat. So
I still do lots of sitting, Pinto.
Oh yeah,
I understand.
If we play games, I have to sit for the 3 hours, and that's fine. But a lot of times, any game that I play, I'm playing for like 30 minutes, and then I'm getting up for a while, and I'll come back to this in a little while.
Yeah, even when we play games together, we'll play, say we play like Ultimate Chicken Horse, we'll do like 3-4 rounds, so we're like, all right, let's take like a 5-minute break, go get some water, go do this, that, something. That's why, like, or if we play one game of War Selection, it's like, all right, I need to go play War Selection for a minute.
Makes War Selection so taxing, because like, you cannot And you have to try and stay sharp the whole time too.
Oh no,
'cause
I've
you'll forget
definitely
about
got up to go piss during games of War Selection before.
Well, that's because War Selection is probably the slowest. Like aside from a turn-based game, like it's definitely the slowest real-time strategy game I've ever played. And I played
Which
a
is
couple.
why
games
I
of
can
War
do it.
Selection, but I played a couple games of War Selection recently, and I can tell you it's by far like I would say it's 10% slower than the slowest RTS game, with the exception of maybe like the old Warcrafts, for example, like the really old ones.
Oh yeah,
before
like
even Warcraft
orcs
2.
and humans and all
Yeah,
that.
where it was like you could only click like 5 units or whatever it was at a time and move them, and it was so clunky.
Yeah,
War
I can actually micro
for
in War
Windows
Selection.
95 Warcraft.
Yeah, War Selection isn't really clunky, I would say. It's generally speaking pretty good pathing and everything, especially if you compare it to something like Warcraft or StarCraft. But it's just the maps are so big. There's so many players. The only way to kill someone is kill their main building, which, in a game that I played, all 6 people for their team built them all next to each other in the back corner.
Oh god,
So
no.
like, yeah, it's like some of the games I've seen where people do like crazy stuff, and it's like, okay, and it just takes 90 minutes, and then after I'm like, I'm done. One game of War Selection, I'm not touching it again. Maybe with you guys I'd play longer, but just me and like a bunch of people I only text chat to, I'm like, yeah, no, one game and I'm up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more like we have kind of gravitated more towards like round-based games almost.
Yeah.
Ultimate Chicken Horse, Phasmophobia, which sometimes a hunt can take a long time in Phasmophobia, but
it can.
Generally not.
Phasmophobia is slow. I mean, it's more me than you guys. I think you guys have more patience for it. That game is very slow to me.
Phasmophobia is a very slow game. I would agree with that. I was actually thinking of something though, like Raft or the Forest. The nice thing there is like, let's say we pull up to an island in Raft, we could be like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom. You guys do the island and do whatever else you want. I'll be back in 5 minutes or whatever. And there was a couple times that we did do that because it worked fine. You just lay down in one of the beds and you're good. And
as opposed to the forest where one of us is like, all right, I'm gonna go get some water, and we come back and you guys are fighting like a giant baby monster or something. So
that
Ass
happened
Man.
in the forest sometimes. The Ass Man, yes, the Ass Man was terrifying.
Guys, are we? Is our topic right now games that you can go take a poop during? Is that our topic?
Or games to poop to.
Yeah.
Listen, if you've got a game
That's
on your
Switch,
phone
man.
or on your Switch, they're all games to poop to.
It's true.
Unless you're playing XCOM and you lose your corporal or whatever, your general.
No, I guess so.
While you're taking a poop. Pinto, you're sitting there going, I pooped to that.
No, I have not played XCOM and pooped. Well, there's a title.
I think I have.
That is it. That's a good title.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think gaming is necessarily the young man's sport. As a whole, definitely from like a competitive aspect. Like I'm not going to play like Halo or Call of Duty or anything like that unless I'm playing with friends. But when I'm like sitting on my own playing games, it just feels like I could be doing something more productive. I'm like, well, I can pick this up. I can do something with the dog. I can, I can be an adult and do something different. Whereas like when I'm sitting down and playing with the 3 of you, I don't mind sitting down longer to play games because it's an enriching experience, like you're hanging out with friends, like you're talking, you're socializing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the individual play, you're kind of like isolated.
I struggle with that a
we're
lot.
as adults, we have to exemplify efficiency and make sure that we're getting friend time in with game time.
Are you saying we're getting FPM? Friend
Yes.
per minute? Friend points per minute? FPPM?
I'd like to trade mine in.
But
Would you like the giant stuffed bear or the little stapler?
Oh, I'm
Take it,
sorry.
please.
Only on this shelf.
but that what you said, Megan, is definitely something I've thought of where I'm like, oh my god, I played 120 hours of X or Y, and I'm like, why did I do that? Did
Yeah,
I actually?
X and Y are
was
the
it
same
actually
game,
worth it?
man.
They are.
Sorry, it was a
I'm just
Pokemon
like,
joke.
I know, but I just I definitely struggle with that, especially because like I'm sitting here on the computer and I am thinking to myself, okay, in my career I do cybersecurity. I could find a free training room to hack a server or something, which I find fun. But since I do that during my day, kind of job and everything, I'm kind of like, well, I don't want to do that because that's what I do during the day. So I want to do something else. But I don't know. I feel like
You
I have
gotta
a lot of
find.
winter. What's that?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I think I have a lot of winter blues because I feel like a lot of times where I'm like wanting to do something different with it being cold, I'm like, I'll just sit at my computer, whatever, that works. But if it's like nice out, I'll go outside at any time of day or night. Like if it's summer and it's like 70, I'm out there at like 11:30 at night sometimes because I'm like, it's fun. I want to be outside. My area is safe.
I wonder
that's
too. Oops, sorry.
definitely a thing.
I wonder too if we would feel a different way if if we weren't stuck in the pandemic for as long as we have been. Like things wouldn't be as restrictive as they are, or you might feel more comfortable doing different things where instead of like, sitting down to play games with friends, you might have people over, to your house. Like we used to do board game nights. We used to just have people come over and hang out. And now you're just kind of stuck in the same repetitive, things all the time.
Yeah.
And that
I
doesn't
miss
help
that.
either.
I really miss like board game stuff. Once we move, y'all coming over, we're playing board games. And I have like 20 games that are still sealed and ready to be played.
Yeah, we have so many that we haven't touched.
I definitely have that too. I have tons of board games. I'm like, I want to buy that. It's a good sale right now. I was like, I'm probably not going to touch this for a while, and it's still sitting there because I don't have many people to play with.
Bought like 2 new games recently. I have the Skyrim game coming.
Skyrim game. Ooh.
Yep, there's a Skyrim
nice.
board game they made. Yeah. And I know like I'm not gonna get to play them until we move back to the Northeast. Like even all my friends who used to come over and play board games down here, we're playing like D&D on a Friday night, like every other week, and we're doing it digitally. Like, but granted, part of that's because 2 of our friends that used to host moved to Wisconsin a couple of years ago, but. They like my one friend now lives 30 minutes away in the other direction, doesn't really want to spend time driving over here to play board games. So I get it.
And I mean part of it definitely is the whole pandemic thing, but I mean, not to get super political, but I think we all kind of have that internalized capitalism thing where it's like, if I'm not being productive, I'm wasting time. Which is actually really unfair to yourself in general, to just be like, to feel guilt about enjoying yourself, almost.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
To enjoy something that doesn't make money.
Yes.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's...
Yeah, you just have this thought of, what intrinsic value is this giving me besides FPM? So... And it ruins a lot of things where you get this feeling of like, oh god, I should be doing something productive like exercising or doing something that I will enjoy marginally less, but I feel like is required of me.
It's funny.
Why am I not playing guitar and getting better at that even,
Well,
like
it's funny
that's
you
a me
mentioned
thing.
it's funny you mentioned exercise though, Pinto. So for those that didn't know, I was like 195 pounds or so at one point a couple years ago, maybe 2017 or so. Work was just killing me. It was crushing me, and I was just exhausted. I was overeating to compensate for that. And after that, I decided I wanted to get more exercises in. I wanted to lose weight. But even then, when I was doing that, and I wanted to do it for my own enjoyment, because I liked the races that I was trying to do, not very well. I said to myself, there's a couple reasons, but one of the reasons was, well, if I get more fit, I will be healthier, which then reduces my cost for medical issues in 10 years. Like that, I was actually a thought that I thought of, I remember clearly. So I completely agree with you, Pinto, where I'm like, sometimes I do something or I think I want to do something, not necessarily just for my own enjoyment, but because I think there's like a monetary benefit there for me doing that activity or whatever. So even if it's not a benefit, I'm not going to hurt myself by doing that. So like sometimes it's like, oh, I'm not going to go buy this kind of thing because I'd rather save the money. And we all know I'm definitely the cheapest in the group when it comes to like games and stuff. But there's definitely times where I'm like, I'm not going to buy something because I think like I'd say I'd rather save that money, or whatever. So it's a very good point. And I think that starts to hit you as you start to bring it back to the mortgages, have a mortgage that you have to pay for, you lose your house, right? Or you have all your other bills and expenses. So I don't know. It's a very good point and definitely valid for anyone that's, again, I would say, about 24 and older.
And part of it though too is, I mean, we've had some game experiences I feel like that have been like fun, and Pinto will bring up the peak end principle, but I'm looking at DayZ, where we all got sucked into the warp and I look at my
for
Steam
a solid month, maybe longer.
yeah.
Tom,
July,
longer
August.
for you.
I have over 560 hours of DayZ.
That not all of that was actually playing. We've discussed how a lot of times we leave the launcher open, and that pads out the gameplay time.
Even if that's like 100 hours of launcher, that's like 460 hours. That's 11 weeks, like 11 work weeks of DayZ. And ultimately we just stepped away, right? So like there was a lot of fun in DayZ, and I think we had fun as a group, and I think it's important to remember that. But there's also this like spot in the brain that says like you put in this much time and in the end there was nothing.
I go through that often with various games, but like if I look at my CS:GO time, or CS in general, but CS:GO and stuff, I met some really cool people doing that. I still have really good, like I remember the first time like I built a team and we won like our first game, our first like actual match in a league. Like that was really cool. Like it was a really good moment. We won 16-14. We weren't very good, but we barely edged it out. I remember like this, and that's when I realized, like, for example, sports, and the feeling you get winning a sport game, especially in like a kind of like last second throw of the basketball or whatever, that the feeling is very similar, because I remember, that feeling, and like I wouldn't give that up for anything. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was worth 5,000 hours of CS 1.6, but I would say that it definitely is something that I can treasure, even if it doesn't have any true value to me now. Same as our time playing all the games we played, like Raft and DayZ, maybe not so much the Wild 8, but the other games, like I think that they were worth it, in reality. So I think it's just becoming, I think what I would say overall for this topic from my vantage point is, as long as I'm utilizing the time to get those kind of moments, whether it's, with a team or it's my own individual playing of like a really awesome game, or it's with you guys or with other friends where it's like, oh man, do you guys remember when we got sucked into DayZ and played like every single night for hours on end, and we had hilarious moments where Tom dies of starvation right in front of the admin, and like, you know what I mean? Like if you have those moments, it's worth it.
We worked for an hour to try and get the car out of the river, and it wouldn't get out of the river. And then it ran us over.
And that's all we did for the night, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid UACs.
That is funny though, like how there are different games and how they have that different sort of effect on you. Like, because I would liken a DayZ experience like Final Fantasy 14, which I've sunk a number of hours into as well, but haven't played in quite a while. And I somehow don't feel as bad about Final Fantasy 14 because there's like tangible story progressions and stuff that you can make in that game. So I feel like I feel like there was a gate that I spent my time unlocking instead of just running around finding a car, you know? Um, and I'm sure, like, I'm certain all of that is psychological in nature. Like, reasonably, there's no difference in the time I've spent in either of those games and the value that it provided. So I had fun, you know? And I think we do this to ourselves, and we have to remind ourselves that it's okay to just have fun. Yeah, that's my message.
And a wonderful message it was, Tom. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This was the Joypad podcast.
Here's some depressing shit.
Hey, we brought it back around in the end. And we're not done yet.
I think this was joyful overall. I think I think that somebody who, like I said, is between that, 21 out of college, starting their new job, or someone who just had their first kid or something, is probably feeling a lot like we are, though none of us have children. But still, I think that everyone has like their own kind of life requirements and are like having to pull away from games to some degree, and are realizing that, if they're tactical with their time, that they can still have all those great moments now. It might be a little bit more difficult, but it's still possible, which I will quickly emphasize at the start of this podcast. I've always felt that games are, still for us, something that's not just for children anymore. So
They're not tricks.
Oh yeah.
It's for everybody.
Have you guys had tricks lately?
They took away the fruit shapes. That was the best part.
Yeah,
they took away the fruit shapes.
They're like violently not food, dude.
What
they're
the
just
shit is
like,
that?
It's just bright colored. It's like colorful Cheetos, but instead of cheese, it's vague fruit sugar.
It's citric acid and sugar.
You've never had tricks,
No,
Megan?
I've never had tricks.
Well, don't bother now, but like they're
It makes sense for you to have it now.
Get a time machine, go back to like 1999 and have a bowl of tricks then.
Okay. All right.
And if you find the right person around Thanksgiving time, they will have a bugle and they will put a little frosting in it and they will fill it with tricks to make a cornucopia. Okay? Because this was a thing that used to happen.
When you said bugle, I thought you meant like the corn chip snack bugles, I was like,
yeah,
you can only fit like one tricks in one bugle.
Yeah, I mean that's mostly what it was. Maybe two.
Oh, okay.
But still, it's the thought that counts.
It is very Martha Stewart.
That's a lot of work, man.
Did any of you ever have Cookie Crisp?
Yes.
Ooh,
yes. I'm not a fan.
I have some in the kitchen right now.
That shit. People talk about Captain Crunch cutting the roof of your mouth. Cookie Crisp did that to me too.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta let
Cookie
that
Crisp
get soggy.
Cookie Crisp is fake cookies though too.
Yeah.
Like, can we be real? It's not. You know what? I'm 32. I can go out and I can buy Chips Ahoy and I can throw them in a bowl and I can put milk on them.
Were there
Take
ever
that,
do that?
Some famous Amos.
Yeah.
Wait, okay.
That's my Cookie Crisp, bitches.
I was about to ask if there were any like cereal games, but there was Chex Quest, which was just Doom, but reskinned with like Chex stuff, right?
People loved it.
Yeah. Because like I think about all those weird license games like Sneak King and Chester Cheetah's Too Cool to Fool and Cool Spot. Like,
Cool Spot.
Avoid the Noise, like all these weird fast food licensed or snack soda licensed video games. I couldn't think of any for cereal, but Chex had my back. And what a weird pull that Chex is the one that had a video game. Like, what?
I think there were other ones
top
too.
Were just too expensive. They weren't
That's
willing
true.
to negotiate.
That's a licensing nightmare.
Yeah.
I just remember, what was the website? Bottle Cap Games or something? I remember playing Cream Savers Bowling all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. What a throwback. We could talk about addicting games for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or like old Flash games.
Yeah,
Yep.
let's save Flash games for another topic. I feel like there's a lot to talk about there.
There's a lot to unwrap.
I just want to mention, we'll come back to this on that episode. Did you guys ever play the, I think it was called Pandemic?
Yes.
The Flash game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all I can think of whenever I thought about coronavirus.
I have
I was like,
game,
oh shit!
Yeah, I have a
They
game called
mutated it
Plague
just the
Inc.
right way.
on my phone. I think Plague Inc. is just like Pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An
it
updated
is.
version of that,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we're gonna have a lot to talk about on the Flash game episode coming up, I feel like. But for now, for this topic, is there anything else that we wanna talk about?
I did have one thing that I just wanted to say, which is I don't want to undersell the value of games as an adult either. And I, past the whole, I'm a capitalist. I feel like I'm not making enough money while I'm sitting here enjoying myself. I mean, I can directly remember, not resemble, a time in my life. And I mean, this was right after I had come back from Korea. And I had attempted to launch a teaching career over there and got very homesick and couldn't deal with it. And I came back and I wasn't doing anything with my life. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a job. I was just in my parents' bedroom after college. And I mean, I was really depressed. And I started playing Star Wars The Old Republic. And it gave me something to do and look forward to and people to socialize with on a regular basis. So, I mean, I remember that being like a saving grace at that point in my life. So, I just don't want anyone to think that we don't understand the value of video games as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's the social component or the, the fun aspect. Doing things for yourself is important.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that $15 a month may have saved my life back then. So there we go.
When occasionally Megan would not hear from me for days, she'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like playing Stardew Valley and watching BoJack Horseman. She'd be like, "Okay, what's wrong?"
Yeah. That's like the combo.
I've lived that with American football playing in the background.
No, there was no never meant playing in the background usually, but occasionally. There was the time where I sent Megan a message that said, "I'm making everyone in the restaurant listening to American football. I think I might be depressed." But at least I'm cognizant of it.
Self-awareness.
That's right.
It's a check. If you're listening to American football before, after, or in between this podcast episode, consider your mental health.
But
Have you
also,
become an emo dad in Midwestern United States?
Also, good band, good music.
Great band, great music.
And, if your last session with your therapist was anything like mine, it was stop reading the news. So I'm going to stop reading the news and play more video games.
That's
Yeah.
Hey Megan, guess what I did last year?
Stop reading the news and played more video games?
Yeah.
I can't help it.
I had to. I was going through it.
Oh. Yeah. I just got, "Are you reading the news again?" And I said I never stopped.
Can't stop, won't stop. Should stop.
I need to.
We'll have another conversation about that after.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounded like it's about that time.
Aw.
Well, viewers, thanks so much for listening.
Viewers, thanks for
today.
listening.
Be
Listeners,
happy as
thanks
you
for
play
viewing.
Tasters, thanks
exactly.
for hearing.
Exactly. But no, thank you again for listening and/or viewing and/or doing both if you're on YouTube. Really appreciate that. You can find all of our stuff, our socials, and link to the podcast on joypadpod.com. It is a link tree with all of that, so go check that out. I apologize for my cat, for the YouTube viewers, for coming into the scene. She likes coming. Oh, there she is again.
People love the cats.
Dude,
They do
that's
love cats,
yeah, that's
so-
gonna get us more views. You
So
kidding
many
me?
views.
Can we make sure one of the topics or one of the titles of the podcast tonight is Mike's
Mojito
cat comes or something? Maybe not quite that.
Yes. Mike's cat comes.
And the podcast.
Maybe not quite that. But
And
Furries, attention! Mike's cat comes.
I hate it.
Tom, please take it away.
Spiky cat dicks.
Oh.
I do I even have words after that? Listen, we don't care if you're young or old. Enjoy your gaming life. Try not to beat yourself up about not making money while playing video games. Listen, I don't make money when I play video games. I just make money at other points in time. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Video games are about having fun and enjoying your life, so do it. Just do it!
Thanks, Shia.
And by that I mean, stay joyful. Goodbye.